On Christmas Eve 2013, in the small town of Millbrook, Connecticut, 5-year-old Noah Harrison sat at their family piano, his small fingers dancing across the keys as he practiced Silent Night. His mother, Sarah, watched him with tears of joy, hanging the last Christmas ornament on their tree. "Do you think Daddy will like my surprise?" Noah asked, his eyes bright with excitement. "He'll love it, sweetheart," Sarah assured him, though her smile faded as she glanced at her phone. No messages from Bill, her husband, who was working late again. While Noah continued practicing, Sarah decided to send Bill some photos of their decorated home. Opening their shared family computer, she noticed Bill's email was still logged in. Her heart stopped as she saw dozens of messages from someone named Jennifer. With trembling hands, Sarah clicked on the most recent email. "Everything's ready for tomorrow. I can't wait to start our new life together in New York. They'll be fine without you." Sarah felt the room spin. More emails revealed the cruel truth. Bill, her husband of 8 years, had been planning to leave them for months. He'd even secretly sold their piano to a dealer who would pick it up the day after Christmas. In his downtown office, Bill Harrison sat with Jennifer, his colleague from the investment firm. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, running her fingers through his hair. "Wall Street's offering you millions. You can't reach your full potential with them holding you back." "I've made up my mind," Bill replied coldly, checking his phone. 3 missed calls from Sarah. He texted back, "Busy with year-end reports. Don't wait up." Back home, Noah finally fell asleep on the couch, still waiting for his father. "Just 5 more minutes, Mommy," he mumbled. "I want to play for Daddy." Sarah carried him to bed, tucking him in beside the Christmas stocking he'd made for his father. That's when she noticed their wedding album was missing from the shelf. Rushing to their bedroom, she found drawers emptied and Bill's suitcase gone. On the kitchen table lay a single sheet of paper. "You're both holding me back. I need to live my life. Don't try to contact me." With shaking hands, Sarah checked their bank accounts on her phone. Everything was gone. Their savings, Noah's college fund, all emptied. Even their house payment for the month was reversed. Memories flooded her mind. Their wedding day, Bill crying when Noah was born, family vacations, Sunday piano recitals. How could 8 years of love vanish in a single night? A text buzzed on her phone. "Bill again. The house is mortgaged. You have until February to move out." "I'm sorry." Sarah collapsed onto the kitchen floor, her sobs echoing through their soon-to-be lost home. Above her, a family photo showed them smiling at Noah's 5th birthday just months ago. Bill's words from that day rang in her ears. "I'll always be here for you both." Tomorrow, her son would wake up on Christmas morning, eager to play Silent Night for a father who would never return. Sarah clutched Noah's handmade card for Bill. "To the best daddy in the world. Love, Noah." Outside, snow began to fall on their decorated house, Christmas lights twinkling obliviously in the darkness. Inside, a mother's heart shattered as she faced the cruel reality of betrayal on what should have been their most magical night of the year. Christmas morning arrived with Noah's excited footsteps running down the stairs. "Daddy, Daddy!" he called out, but the house remained silent except for Sarah's muffled sobs from the kitchen. "Mommy, where's Daddy? I need to play his song," Noah insisted, his small hands clutching the Christmas card he'd made. Sarah wiped her tears and knelt before her son. "Sweetheart, Daddy had to go away for work." The lie tasted bitter in her mouth. But how could she tell a 5-year-old the truth? "When is he coming back?" Noah's voice trembled. Before Sarah could answer, the doorbell rang. It was Jim from the local bank. "Mrs. Harrison, we need to talk about some irregularities with your mortgage." Over the next hour, Sarah's world crumbled further. Bill had remortgaged their house using forged signatures. 6 months of mortgage payments had been reversed. Credit card bills revealed lavish hotel stays and expensive restaurants, all shared with Jennifer. "You have until February 1st, Jim explained sympathetically. "I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do." Sarah called Bill's parents next. "We want nothing to do with this," his mother said coldly. "Bill told us everything, how you drove him away with your constant focus on Noah's music." The line went dead. That evening, Noah sat at the church piano during the Christmas service. It was the only piano he could access now. Silent Night filled the empty church as tears rolled down his cheeks. When the pastor's wife tried to comfort him, Noah turned away, refusing to speak. Days passed. Noah stopped talking altogether, communicating only through nods or by playing the piano. The local doctor called it selective mutism, a response to severe emotional trauma. Sarah discovered more devastating news. The college fund Bill had promised to set up for Noah, it never existed. The money had gone straight to Jennifer's account. I trusted him with everything, Sarah confided to Pastor Michael, who helped her sort through the financial mess. Look at this. He even forged my signature to take a loan against our life insurance. Every attempt to contact Bill failed. His phone was disconnected, his email bounced back, and his office claimed he'd transferred to New York weeks ago. One night, as Sarah packed their belongings, she found her mother's old diary. The last entry before her death read, "Denver has a way of healing broken hearts. The mountains remind us that we can rise above anything." Noah's piano practice time at church became their only moments of peace. While he played, Sarah noticed something remarkable. Though he wouldn't speak, his musical ability had grown stronger, as if the piano had become his voice. "Your boy has a gift," Pastor Michael observed. "Maybe this is God showing you a path forward." Sarah counted their remaining resources: $200, her mother's old ring, and a child who could only express himself through music. The bank's deadline loomed 2 weeks away. That night, after Noah fell asleep, Sarah sat in their empty living room. The space where the piano once stood seemed to mock their losses. Taking her mother's ring off its chain, she made her decision. The next morning, she sold her wedding rings and her mother's ring to buy 2 bus tickets to Denver. Noah watched silently as she packed their lives into 2 suitcases. "We're going to start a new life," Sarah told him, trying to sound confident. "Remember what Grandma used to say about Denver?" Noah responded by playing a hopeful melody on the church piano, his last performance in the town that had witnessed their family's destruction. As they boarded the bus, Sarah held Noah close. Behind them lay the ruins of broken promises. Ahead, the unknown beckoned with the faint promise of redemption in a city they'd never seen. The bus arrived in Denver on a cold January morning. Sarah and Noah stood at the station, their breath visible in the winter air. With their 2 suitcases and dwindling funds, they made their way to the Christian community center she'd found online. "Welcome to Denver," Pastor David Matthews greeted them at the entrance. He paused when Sarah introduced herself. "Harrison? From Connecticut?" A flash of recognition crossed his face, but he quickly masked it. The center wasn't much, just a few spare rooms above the main hall tank, but it was clean and warm. "We can offer temporary housing in exchange for help with our community programs," Pastor David explained. Noah wandered away during their conversation, drawn to the sound of music. They found him in the main hall, sitting at an old piano, his fingers moving across the keys. "He doesn't speak," Sarah explained to Pastor David. "Not since Christmas Eve when his father—" "I understand," Pastor David interrupted gently. "The piano is available anytime he needs it." Word spread quickly about the new piano teacher at the center. Sarah's first student was Emma, a 7-year-old with autism who'd never responded to traditional music lessons. By the end of their first session, Emma was playing simple notes. "It's like you speak their language," Pastor David observed, watching Sarah work with the children. More parents started bringing their kids, some with special needs, others from families who couldn't afford regular lessons. Noah spent his days at the piano, playing increasingly complex pieces. People would stop in the hallway, drawn by the music. "That boy has been touched by God," the church ladies would whisper. One morning, a local reporter named Susan Clark stopped by, intrigued by stories of the silent boy who played like an angel. "There's something special happening here," she said, taking notes about Sarah's growing music program. The story aired on the local news. Hope through music. Mother-son duo transform community center. Donations started coming in. Music books, supplies, even a second piano. Pastor David proved to be their strongest ally, always finding ways to help. He mentored Noah, speaking to him through music when words failed. Sarah noticed how he'd leave coffee by her desk on long teaching days, how he seemed to anticipate their needs before they arose. Their first Denver Christmas approached. The community center organized a holiday concert featuring Noah and Sarah's students. Even Emma performed, playing Jingle Bells, as her parents cried with joy. During the reception, Sarah overheard two elderly ladies talking. "Did you see how Pastor David looks at her?" one whispered. "I haven't seen him this alive since his wife passed." Sarah felt her cheeks flush. She'd noticed his kindness, his gentle way with Noah, but hadn't allowed herself to think beyond gratitude. Her heart wasn't ready. That night, after Noah fell asleep in their small room, Sarah found Pastor David in his office, going through donation records. "Thank you," she said simply, "for everything." He looked up, his expression serious. "Sarah, there's something I should tell you about," but he was interrupted by Noah, who appeared in the doorway. The boy went straight to the office's small keyboard and began playing Silent Night. The first time he'd played it since leaving Connecticut. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but they weren't all sad ones. For the first time, watching her son play and feeling the warmth of their new community, she felt something she'd thought was lost forever. Hope. "Your mother was right about Denver," Pastor David said softly. "It has a way of healing broken hearts." Sarah watched as Noah continued playing, his music filling the quiet office. Outside, snow fell on the mountains, and somewhere in this city of second chances, she could almost believe that their new life was more than just an escape. It was a beginning. 3 years passed quickly in Denver. By 2016, Sarah had transformed the community center's music program into a proper school. Harrison Music Academy for Special Children opened its doors in a renovated storefront near the center, funded by community donations and grants. Noah, now 8, still hadn't spoken a word, but his piano playing had become extraordinary. His first viral video happened by accident. A parent recorded him playing a complex Bach piece and posted it online. The silent prodigy of Denver reached millions of views. One morning, Sarah's phone rang, a New York number she didn't recognize. "Sarah, it's Bill." His voice hadn't changed. "I saw Noah's video." Her hands trembled. "What do you want?" "I want to make things right. I'll send a check for $5 million. In exchange, I need you to sign away Noah's custody." "My life is complicated now. I can't have this connection to my past." Sarah watched through her office window as Noah taught Emma, now 10, a new piece. The girl who once couldn't speak to strangers was laughing as Noah guided her hands on the keys. "You can keep your money," Sarah said, and hung up. When the check arrived, she burned it in Pastor David's office. David watched the check turn to ashes. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you about Bill." "What is it?" "I knew him in college. We were roommates at Yale." David's confession came slowly. "When I recognized your name, I should have said something. I didn't want to bring more pain." Sarah sat in stunned silence. "Did you know about Jennifer?" "No, I lost touch with him years ago, but I knew his character. His ambition always overshadowed his conscience." That evening, a new video of Noah went viral. This time, he was playing an original composition, his emotions flowing through every note. Comments poured in. "This boy plays like he's lived 100 lives." The next day, an anonymous donor contacted the Academy. They wanted to fund a foundation to provide free music education to children with special needs. The amount matched exactly what Bill had offered. Sarah noticed changes in her relationship with David. Their late-night conversations grew longer, their shared smiles more frequent. Noah seemed to gravitate toward him naturally, often sitting beside him during church services. But shadows lurked on the edges of their growing happiness. Jennifer, now a prominent figure in New York's social scene, began following Sarah's social media accounts. Comments appeared under Noah's videos. "He looks just like his father." One night, after Noah had gone to bed, David found Sarah crying in the empty classroom. "I'm afraid," she admitted. "What if Bill tries to take Noah away? What if all this success brings him back into our lives?" David took her hand. "Sarah, you've built something beautiful here. No one can take that away." Their fingers intertwined, and Sarah felt her heart flutter. For the first time in 3 years, she allowed herself to imagine a future filled with more than just survival. But as their relationship bloomed, they didn't notice the growing media attention. A reporter had begun digging into their story, piecing together the path that led them to Denver. Back in New York, Bill's face appeared on financial magazines, his success story contradicting the truth. Sarah knew. Noah watched it all through his music. his compositions growing more complex, telling stories his voice couldn't share. His latest piece, which he played every evening, seemed to ask a question that hung in the air. How long could their peaceful new life last before the past caught up with them? In spring 2018, Sarah and David's wedding filled the community center with joy. Noah, now 10, played the wedding march as his mother walked down the aisle. Though still silent, his music spoke volumes of happiness. The foundation had grown beyond their expectations, with 3 music centers across Denver. Their program gained national attention when Noah won the Colorado State Junior Piano Competition. His performance of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata left the judges in tears. Meanwhile, in New York, Bill Harrison's face appeared on the cover of Wall Street Journal. The Golden Touch: How Bill Harrison Built His Billion-Dollar Empire. The article praised his single-minded dedication to success and his relationship with Jennifer Blake, now his VP of Operations. The morning after Noah's competition victory, Sarah found her son watching an old video interview with Bill on his laptop. The headline read, "Rising Star of Wall Street Shares His Story." "Children? No, I don't have any," Bill answered smoothly in the video. "My work is my life. I couldn't imagine dividing my attention." Noah slammed the laptop shut and ran to the piano, playing with such fury that his fingers bled. David found him there, gently cleaned his hands, and sat with him until the anger subsided. That same day, Rachel Martinez, an investigative reporter from the Denver Post, began asking questions around town. "I'm working on a story about successful women entrepreneurs," she explained, but her notebook contained different questions. Who is Bill Harrison? Why did Sarah leave Connecticut? Bill's empire reached its peak that summer. His investment firm managed billions, and his wedding to Jennifer made social pages across the country. But Jennifer had plans of her own. While Bill celebrated their success, Jennifer systematically transferred funds to offshore accounts. She altered documents, forged signatures, skills she'd learned watching Bill destroy his first family. Sarah's foundation opened its 3rd center, this one dedicated to children with autism. The local news covered the opening, featuring Emma, now their star student, performing alongside Noah. "Mrs. Matthews," Rachel Martinez approached after the ceremony, "would you like to comment on Bill Harrison's recent wedding? Our sources say." "No comment," David stepped in, shielding Sarah from the reporter. But the past refused to stay buried. That evening, Noah discovered more videos online. Interviews where Bill bragged about building his success alone, denying any family ties. The boy's music turned darker, his compositions filled with pain and anger. Then came the crash. Jennifer disappeared with nearly everything: money, documents, client records. Bill's empire crumbled overnight. Federal investigators descended on his office. Breaking news: Wall Street titan Bill Harrison under investigation for fraud. The headlines screamed. Jennifer had timed her betrayal perfectly, leaving Bill to face the consequences alone. Sarah watched the news with mixed emotions. "I should feel satisfied," she told David that night. "But all I feel is sadness for the man who never understood what real wealth is." Their foundation continued to grow, unaffected by the distant storm in New York. Noah's talent attracted more attention, his silence making his musical voice even more powerful. But Rachel Martinez kept digging. She found old Connecticut newspapers, interviewed former neighbors. She pieced together the story of a Christmas Eve abandonment, a forged mortgage, a mother and son fleeing with nothing. "The truth will come out eventually," David warned Sarah. "We should control how it's told." Sarah looked out at the mountains, remembering her mother's words about Denver's healing power. "Not yet," she decided. Noah's not ready. Unknown to them, the story was already writing itself. Bill's downfall, Noah's rising star, and Sarah's success were on a collision course that would change everything. The question wasn't if the truth would emerge, but when, and at what cost to the peace they'd built. October 2023 brought news that shattered Bill Harrison's world. In a sterile New York hospital room, his doctor delivered the verdict: severe hereditary cardiomyopathy. Without treatment, he had months to live. "There's one specialist who might help," the doctor said. "Dr. Anderson in Denver. He's pioneering a new surgical technique." That same week, in Denver, Noah, now 15, received a letter that changed everything. The Carnegie Hall Young Musicians Program had selected him for their Christmas showcase. "Your son's silent performance style has captivated our selection committee," the letter read. Sarah cried as she read it to Noah, who responded by playing a joyful improvisation on the piano. The foundation's success had exceeded all expectations, with 30 centers across Colorado. Sarah's innovative music therapy program was nominated for a National Education Award. But storm clouds gathered. Jennifer appeared at one of their Denver centers, watching from across the street. She dyed her hair and worn sunglasses, but security cameras caught her taking photos. "She has a child with her," the security guard told Sarah, showing her the footage. The boy appeared to be around 7 years old. That evening, Rachel Martinez's article finally went live, "The Silent Prodigy's Secret Past, a Christmas Eve Betrayal." The story spread like wildfire across social media. Sarah found Noah reading the article on his phone. His hands shook as he reached for the piano keys, but for the first time, no music came. "We knew this day would come," David said, holding Sarah as she watched her son struggle with his emotions. "But there's something else you need to know about Bill." Before he could continue, Sarah's phone rang. It was Dr. Anderson's office. "Mrs. Matthews, I'm calling about your ex-husband, Bill Harrison. He's scheduled for evaluation next week, given your son's medical history." "What medical history?" Sarah interrupted. "The hereditary cardiac condition. Mr. Harrison's case suggests Noah should be tested immediately." The world seemed to spin. Sarah remembered how Noah sometimes got winded after playing intense pieces, how he'd occasionally complain of chest pain after performances. Meanwhile, Jennifer executed her plan. She'd enrolled her son, Michael, in piano lessons at one of Sarah's centers, using a false name. The boy showed natural talent, just like his half-brother. Bill arrived in Denver on a cold November morning. From his hotel room, he watched a video of Noah's latest performance. The boy's talent was undeniable, and so was his resemblance to Michael. "You can't tell them," Jennifer warned over the phone. "Michael doesn't know about Noah. It would destroy him." The pressure mounted as Christmas approached. Noah's Carnegie Hall performance would include a live stream to all 30 music centers, reaching thousands of students. The foundation planned a special Christmas Eve event at Denver International Airport, a preview performance to raise travel funds for underprivileged music students. Sarah struggled with the weight of untold truths. Should she tell Noah about his possible heart condition? About his half-brother taking lessons at their own center? David wrestled with his own secret. He'd known about Jennifer's pregnancy years ago, but had kept it from Sarah to protect their healing family. The morning before the airport performance, Noah visited the doctor for routine tests. The results wouldn't come until after Christmas, leaving everyone in agonizing suspense. Bill checked into his hotel near the airport, his surgery scheduled for the day after Christmas. Dr. Anderson had been clear. The procedure was risky, but it was his only chance. As Christmas Eve dawned, all the players in this complex drama moved toward Denver International Airport, unaware that their carefully constructed worlds were about to collide. The holiday music playing through the terminal speakers couldn't mask the tension building in the air. In a few hours, 10 years of secrets would unravel in front of hundreds of witnesses. Christmas Eve afternoon transformed Denver International Airport's main terminal into a concert hall. Holiday travelers gathered around the grand piano as Noah prepared for his performance. Sarah adjusted the donation boxes for their student travel fund, unaware that her past was about to catch up with her. Jennifer arrived first, holding Michael's hand. They blended into the crowd, but her eyes never left Sarah. The boy tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, that's the piano player from the videos you showed me." Bill stood at the terminal's opposite end, clutching his chest. The altitude was affecting his heart more than expected. Through the crowd, he spotted Noah at the piano. The boy had his same sharp jawline, his mother's gentle eyes. The performance began. Noah's fingers to the keys, and silent night filled the terminal. Travelers stopped rolling their suitcases. Phone cameras rose to record the silent prodigy. Sarah felt it first, that strange electricity in the air. She turned and saw Bill. Their eyes met across the terminal, 10 years of pain suspended between them. Noah reached the second verse when he noticed his mother's distress. His music faltered for the first time in years. Looking up, he saw the man from the online videos, his father, standing just 30 feet away. The music stopped abruptly. Noah's hands froze over the keys. His breath came in short gasps. "Keep playing, sweetheart," Sarah whispered, but Noah stood up, knocking over the piano bench. David rushed to Noah's side as the boy backed away from the piano. The crowd murmured in confusion. "Noah." Bill stepped forward, his voice shaking. Stay away from him." David moved between them, but Noah had already seen Michael standing beside Jennifer. The realization hit him like a physical blow. The boy looked just like him, the same age he'd been when his father left. Noah opened his mouth, trying to speak for the first time in 10 years. No sound came out. Phones recorded everything. Rachel Martinez pushed through the crowd, her press badge visible. "Mrs. Matthews, is this the reunion you've been avoiding?" Bill took another step forward but stumbled. His face went pale. "Sarah, I need to tell you. Noah needs to know." He collapsed before finishing the sentence. The crowd gasped as David rushed to help him. "Call an ambulance," someone shouted. Sarah found herself moving toward Bill, despite years of hurt. "Daddy?" Michael broke free from Jennifer's grip, running toward his fallen father. He crashed into Noah, who stood frozen between the piano and the growing chaos. The two boys stared at each other, mirror images separated by a decade of secrets. Noah's hands trembled as he reached for his half-brother. "Get away from my son." Jennifer pushed through the crowd, but her words hung in the air. Which son did she mean? Security arrived as paramedics rushed to Bill. The crowd's phones captured every moment. The silent piano prodigy facing his dying father, the secret brother revealed, the mother who'd rebuilt her life, watching it all spiral into chaos. Noah backed away from the scene until he hit the piano. His fingers found the keys again, and amid the chaos, he began to play. Not Silent Night, but something raw and painful, a piece no one had heard before. The music cut through the noise. Even the paramedics working on Bill paused for a moment. Sarah watched her son pour 10 years of silence into the keys. "Mrs. Matthews," a paramedic called. "We need to know his medical history. And yours too, young man," he gestured to Noah. The condition could be hereditary. The terminal's holiday decorations twinkled obliviously above the scene. A decade of carefully buried truth surfaced in a matter of minutes, all to the soundtrack of Noah's impromptu composition. The last thing Bill saw before losing consciousness was his two sons at the piano, one playing, one watching in awe. Then everything went black. The hospital waiting room filled with an uncomfortable mix of people. Sarah sat with Noah and David, while Jennifer paced with Michael nearby. The boy couldn't stop staring at his older brother. "Mrs. Matthews?" Dr. Anderson emerged from the emergency room. "Mr. Harrison is stable, but his condition is critical. He needs immediate surgery." "What about Noah?" Sarah asked. "The hereditary condition?" "We should test both boys immediately," the doctor replied, glancing between Noah and Michael. Jennifer stepped forward. "I never told Michael about his condition. I didn't want him to live in fear." "You knew?" Sarah's voice rose. "You knew about this risk to Noah and said nothing?" Before Jennifer could respond, Noah walked to the children's ward piano. And at his music drew Michael to his side. The younger boy watched his brother's fingers move across the keys, then tentatively placed his own hands on the lower octaves. Sarah watched the brothers play together, their shared talent undeniable. A nurse recorded the impromptu duet on her phone, and within hours the video went viral. Silent prodigy meets secret brother. Rachel Martinez arrived at the hospital. Her press badge prominent. "The public has a right to know the full story," she insisted to hospital security. David pulled Sarah aside. "I need to tell you something. I knew about Michael." Sarah stepped back. "What?" "Bill told me when I ran into him at a conference 3 years ago. I kept it from you to protect our family." Noah stopped playing, his eyes fixed on David, the man he'd trusted, who'd been keeping secrets too. "Sarah," Jennifer approached, her makeup streaked with tears. "There's more. Bill's company collapse. I caused it. I took everything, just like he took everything from you." The truth spilled out. Jennifer revealed how she'd systematically destroyed Bill's empire, driven by guilt over their affair and his abandonment of Noah. "I thought hurting him would make things right," Jennifer admitted. "But watching Michael grow up without a real father, I realized I'd become just like Bill." Social media exploded with the airport video. Sashed silent prodigy trended nationwide. Comments flooded in. He abandoned his first son on Christmas Eve? Now he might lose both sons. Music brings healing. The hospital chapel piano beckoned to Noah. As he played, his fingers told the story his voice couldn't: anger, confusion, fear, and somewhere beneath it all, hope. Michael sat beside him again. "Can you teach me that part?" he asked softly. Noah nodded, making space on the bench. Sarah found David in the hospital garden. 10 years, David. 10 years of building trust. "I thought I was protecting you both," he pleaded. Like Bill thought abandoning us was protection? Like Jennifer thought revenge was justice? Sarah's voice cracked. "When does the lying stop?" Inside, Dr. Anderson delivered more news. Bill's surgery couldn't wait until after Christmas, and both boys need to be tested immediately. The condition can worsen under emotional stress. Noah and Michael underwent tests together, their shared love of music bridging the awkward silence. Results would take days, leaving both families in limbo. Rachel Martinez's article went live. Christmas Eve Miracle. Music reunites broken family. The story painted Bill as both villain and victim, Sarah as the triumphant survivor, the boys as healing through music. That night, Noah visited Bill's room. The monitors beeped steadily as he sat at his father's bedside. For the first time in 10 years, he tried to speak. A small sound escaped his throat. Not quite a word, but a beginning. Bill's eyes fluttered open. "Noah?" he whispered. "I heard you playing at the airport. You're everything I could have been if I'd made different choices." Noah reached for his father's hand just as Michael appeared in the doorway. The brothers shared a look of understanding. Their father's choices had shaped both their lives, but they didn't have to let those choices define them. In the waiting room, Sarah watched her son with his brother, wondering how many more secrets still lurked beneath the surface, and whether their fragile new connections could survive them. Christmas morning arrived at the hospital. Noah sat at the children's ward piano, Michael beside him. Together, they played for young patients who couldn't go home for the holidays. "Can you show me that part again?" Michael asked, watching Noah's fingers move through a complex passage. Noah nodded, demonstrating the sequence slowly. For the first time since the airport, he seemed at peace. Bill's surgery was scheduled for the next morning. Dr. Anderson had been clear. Without it, he wouldn't survive the week. In his room, monitors beeped steadily as Sarah approached his bed. "I know sorry isn't enough," Bill whispered, "but watching our son play, seeing what you've built, I was a fool, Sarah." "This isn't about us anymore," Sarah replied. "It's about Noah and Michael." Down the hall, Jennifer sat alone in the chapel. Sarah found her there, staring at the small altar. "I wanted to hurt him like he hurt you," Jennifer confessed. "But all I did was hurt Michael. He grew up watching his father on TV, never knowing the truth." The boys' playing echoed through the hospital corridors. Patients opened their doors to listen. Nurses paused their rounds. The music spoke of pain, but also of healing. David watched from the doorway as his stepson taught his brother. The weight of his secret still hung between him and Sarah. "I should have told you about Michael," he said when Sarah returned. "I was afraid of losing everything we'd built." Sarah took his hand. "We built it on truth, David. That's why it survived. That's why it grew." News crews gathered outside the hospital. Rachel Martinez's latest article had gone viral. Brothers united through music, a Christmas miracle. Noah brought his laptop to Bill's room. Together with Michael, they showed their father videos from the foundation's music centers. Children with autism playing duets, trauma survivors finding their voice through music, families healing through harmony. "You didn't just survive," Bill said, his voice breaking. "You transformed the pain into something beautiful." A nurse interrupted with test results for both boys. The hereditary condition was present but manageable with treatment. Regular monitoring would be essential. "Like father, like sons," Dr. Anderson said. "But caught in time, you can both live normal lives." That evening, Noah made a decision. He wheeled the children's ward piano to Bill's room. Michael helped him position it near their father's bed. The brothers began to play, not just any piece, but Silent Night, the song Noah had prepared for that long ago Christmas Eve. Bill watched his sons, tears streaming down his face. In the middle of the piece, Noah stopped. Everyone held their breath. Then, for the first time in 10 years, he spoke. "Merry Christmas, Dad," he said, his voice rough from disuse. Bill reached for his son's hands, his heart monitor spiking with emotion. Jennifer stepped forward. "I have something else to confess. The money I took. I kept it safe, all of it. I want to donate it to the foundation." Sarah stared at her in disbelief. "Why now?" "Because our boys shouldn't inherit our bitterness," Jennifer replied. "They deserve to build something together, not tear each other apart like we did." As if to confirm her words, Noah and Michael returned to the piano. This time they played one of Noah's original compositions, a piece about forgiveness, about finding light in darkness. Hospital staff gathered in the doorway. Phones recorded the moment. But for once, Sarah didn't care about the publicity. She watched her son, both sons, and saw the future taking shape through their music. David squeezed her hand. Sometimes healing comes in ways we never expect. The piano music filled the hospital room, each note a step toward reconciliation. Tomorrow would bring Bill's surgery, more challenges, more healing. But tonight, in this moment, the broken pieces of their lives began to form a new melody. Bill's surgery began early the next morning. Dr. Anderson warned them it would take at least 8 hours. The waiting room filled with an unlikely family: Sarah and David, Noah and Michael, Jennifer, and several members from the foundation. "We should all pray," Sarah suggested. Even Jennifer joined the circle, holding Michael's hand. Noah sat at the waiting room piano, his music filling the tense silence. His brother watched his every move, absorbing each note. Halfway through the surgery, Dr. Anderson emerged with concerning news. "There are complications. His heart is weaker than we thought." Noah's music stopped abruptly. Michael grabbed his brother's arm. "Keep playing," he whispered. "Dad needs to hear it." The foundation staff organized a prayer chain that spread across all 30 centers. Students and parents gathered, sending messages of support. The story touched people nationwide. Sarah received a call she never expected. "Mrs. Matthews, this is the National Education Committee. Despite recent publicity, or perhaps because of it, your foundation has won our annual Excellence Award." Noah underwent his own tests between playing sessions. The doctors wanted to monitor his heart under emotional stress. Michael stayed with him, the brothers barely separating. "I used to watch your videos," Michael admitted. "Mom thought I didn't know, but I found them online. I practiced for hours trying to play like you." Hour 6 of Bill's surgery brought more complications. Dr. Anderson requested additional specialists. The waiting room tensed with each update. David paced the halls, still struggling with his role in everything. "I should have told you about Michael sooner," he said to Sarah. "I was so afraid of losing you both." "We're past that now," Sarah replied. "Look what keeping secrets did to all of us. It's time for truth." Jennifer approached them cautiously. "The foundation money, I can transfer it today. Let it help other families heal." News crews camped outside the hospital. Rachel Martinez's latest headline read, "Nation Prays for Silent Prodigy's Father." Social media filled with videos of people playing Silent Night in solidarity. Hour 7 brought a crisis. Bill's heart struggled to restart after a procedure. In the waiting room, Noah began playing the lullaby his mother used to sing him, the last song he'd heard before his father left. Michael joined him at the piano, harmony to Noah's melody. Their music traveled through the hospital's speaker system, reaching the operating room. "Something's changing," a nurse reported. "His vital signs are stabilizing." As hour 8 approached, both boys showed signs of exhaustion. The doctors insisted on checking their hearts. "Too much stress isn't good for either of you," they warned. But the brothers refused to leave the piano. They played through their fear, through their fatigue, through the uncertainty. Finally, Dr. Anderson emerged looking tired but relieved. He made it. The next 24 hours are critical, but he made it. The waiting room erupted in tears and hugs. Even Jennifer and Sarah shared a moment of relief. Noah spoke again, his voice stronger now. "Can we see him?" "Soon," the doctor promised. "But first, both of you need rest." Doctor's orders. The foundation staff brought news of a nationwide response. Schools across the country wanted to implement their music therapy program. The tragedy had transformed into an opportunity to help more families. "We're going to New York," Sarah announced. "All of us." Noah's Carnegie Hall performance will show the world what healing through music really means. Michael's eyes lit up. "Can I play too?" Noah nodded, already composing a duet in his mind. David watched his family expand in ways he never expected. "Sometimes faith means trusting the music when you can't find the words," he said. Sarah looked at her sons at the piano, her husband beside her, and even Jennifer across the room. Sometimes healing comes from the most unexpected places. Outside, snow began to fall on Denver, covering the city in a clean white blanket. Inside, a new family composition took shape, note by note, truth by truth, heart by healing heart. Carnegie Hall stood majestic in the New York winter. 2 weeks after Bill's surgery, Noah and Michael waited backstage, their matching suits a reminder of their shared heritage. "Nervous?" Noah asked, his voice growing stronger with each passing day. Michael nodded, peeking through the curtain at the packed house. "Everyone's here." Indeed they were. Sarah and David sat in the front row. Jennifer, elegant and subdued, chose a seat nearby. And Bill, still weak but determined, sat between them in a wheelchair. The foundation had arranged live streaming to all 30 music centers in Denver. Hundreds of students and families gathered to watch. Rachel Martinez sat in the press section, her latest article open on her laptop, From Silence to Symphony, the Harrison Brothers' Journey. 5 minutes, the stage manager announced. Backstage, Noah showed Michael their father's old performance trick, stretching fingers, then touching each key silently before playing. "He used to do that?" Michael asked. "Mom told me, before everything changed." The house lights dimmed. Noah walked onto the stage first, Michael following. The brothers bowed together, then sat at the twin pianos. Noah began alone, the opening notes of Silent Night, the song he never got to play for his father that Christmas Eve. Then Michael joined in, adding layers of complexity to the familiar melody. Bill gripped his armrests, tears streaming down his face. The song transformed into something new. A brothers' duet that spoke of loss, discovery, and renewal. The audience sat transfixed as the music shifted. The boys moved from Christmas melodies into Noah's original composition, a piece he'd written in the hospital during their father's surgery. In Denver, students watched on large screens, many playing along on their own pianos. The foundation's message of healing through music reached across the country. Halfway through the performance, Noah did something unexpected. He spoke into the microphone between pieces. 10 years ago, I lost my voice but found my music, he said, his words clear and strong. Now I've found my brother, and together we'd like to play something new. The brothers launched into a duet they'd composed together, a piece about their shared journey. The melody line passed between them like a conversation, two voices becoming one. In the audience, Sarah reached for David's hand. Jennifer wiped tears from her eyes. Bill watched his sons with a pride that transcended his past mistakes. The performance ended with a standing ovation that lasted 10 minutes. Reporters rushed forward for interviews, but Noah and Michael had eyes only for their father. "That was the greatest gift I've ever received," Bill said as they reached him. Jennifer stood up. "I have something to announce," she said. "The money I took, it's all going to expand the foundation nationwide. Every state should have what you built in Denver." Reporters' cameras flashed as the brothers hugged their father. The headline would read, "Music Heals, Harrison Family Redemption at Carnegie Hall." Sarah watched her sons, now both her sons, accept congratulations from renowned musicians and educators. Universities offered scholarships. Concert halls requested bookings. "This is bigger than us now," David said, watching Noah and Michael discuss music with legendary pianists. The foundation's board met immediately after the concert. With Jennifer's donation, they could open centers in 50 cities. The Harrison Brothers Music Therapy Program would help thousands of children find their voices through music. "The American dream isn't about money," Bill said as his sons returned to his side. "It's about second chances, about building something that matters." Noah and Michael exchanged glances, then returned to the pianos. As the crowd quieted, they began playing again, this time a simple melody that spoke of new beginnings. Outside Carnegie Hall, snow fell on New York City. Inside, a family once broken by ambition found healing through harmony, their music echoing into a future full of promise. The return to Denver brought new beginnings. Bill moved into a small apartment near the foundation's main center to continue his recovery and be close to his sons. The doctors were optimistic. With proper care and reduced stress, his heart was healing steadily. "I want to help," he told Sarah one morning, watching Noah and Michael teach a group of young students. "Not with money, but with experience. These centers need proper financial management to grow." Sarah studied the man who had once abandoned them. His designer suits were gone, replaced by casual clothes. His eyes had lost their hard ambition, softened by humility and gratitude. "Start with the Denver centers," she decided. "Prove yourself here first." The foundation's expansion moved faster than anyone expected. Jennifer's donation, combined with the publicity from Carnegie Hall, attracted more benefactors. Schools across the country requested partnerships. Noah's voice grew stronger each day. He and Michael developed a unique teaching method for children with trauma-related mutism, sharing their own experiences of healing through music. "Remember when you couldn't speak?" Michael asked one morning as they worked with a young student. "Music spoke for me," Noah replied. "Now we help others find their voice." David watched his family grow in unexpected ways. The man who had once been his college roommate was now a regular at Sunday dinners. Jennifer, who had orchestrated Bill's downfall, became a dedicated board member of the foundation. The National Education Award ceremony brought more attention. Sarah's acceptance speech focused on second chances and transformation. 10 years ago, I had $200 and a broken heart," she told the audience. "Today, we have 30 centers and 2,000 students. But our greatest achievement isn't in numbers, it's in the lives we've changed." Spring brought a special celebration. The foundation organized a concert featuring students from all their centers. Noah and Michael performed with children who, like Noah once had, found their strength through music. Bill's recovery progressed well enough for him to start working part-time. He applied his financial expertise to streamline the foundation's operations, making every donated dollar work harder. "I used to think success meant bigger profits," he told a group of business students visiting the center. "Now I know it's about the profit you bring to others' lives." Sarah and David renewed their vows in a ceremony where Noah and Michael played the wedding march as a duet. The guest list included families from every music center, creating a celebration of their expanded community. Jennifer found her own path to redemption, developing a program to help children of divorced parents process their emotions through music. The project, inspired by Michael's journey, became a cornerstone of the foundation's family services. As another Christmas approached, the foundation faced its biggest challenge yet, opening 50 new centers across the country. Bill's business acumen proved invaluable in planning the expansion. "We need to maintain quality while we grow," he advised. "Each center needs to feel as personal as that first classroom in Denver." The holiday concert at the main center became a family tradition. Noah and Michael performed with their students, showcasing the progress of children who had once been trapped in silence or trauma. During the performance, a young girl who hadn't spoken since losing her parents played a piece she'd composed. Her music brought tears to everyone's eyes, reminding them of Noah's journey. "That's why we do this," Sarah whispered to David. "Every child deserves a voice." The foundation's success caught the attention of major media outlets. 60 Minutes featured their story, focusing on the transformation of both the Harrison family and the thousands of lives they'd touched. Bill's interview segment showed how far he'd come. "I had to lose everything to find what really mattered," he told the reporter. "My sons taught me that true wealth isn't in your bank account, it's in your ability to make a difference." That Christmas Eve, exactly 11 years after Bill's abandonment, the Harrison family gathered at the main center. Noah and Michael sat at the grand piano, surrounded by students and families from across the country. The brothers began to play Silent Night, but this time the melody carried hope instead of pain. Bill, healthy enough to sit at the piano bench, turned pages for his sons. Sarah and David watched from the front row, their hands clasped together. Jennifer sat with the other board members, her face peaceful as she watched her son perform. The revenge that had driven her for so long had transformed into purpose. As the music filled the hall, Sarah reflected on their journey. From that cruel Christmas Eve to this moment of harmony, every painful step had led to something greater than themselves. The foundation's new motto, displayed on the wall behind the piano, read, "Every voice matters, every heart heals." Below it, photographs showed their history. The first small classroom, Noah's silent performances, the Carnegie Hall triumph, and countless students finding their voice through music. After the concert, the family shared a quiet moment together. Noah and Michael played softly, while Bill showed a group of young students his old warm-up routine. Sarah watched her sons, now both truly her sons, creating music together. "Mom," Noah called out, his voice strong and clear, "we wrote something new for you." The brothers performed their latest composition, a piece that told their family's story of loss, discovery, and redemption. The melody spoke of forgiveness, of second chances, of the healing power of truth and time. As the final notes faded, Bill addressed the gathered families. 11 years ago, I thought success meant having more. Today, I know it means being more compassionate, more forgiving, more aware of the music in every heart." The foundation's success became a model for arts education nationwide. But for the Harrison family, the true miracle wasn't in the numbers or accolades. It was in the simple joy of being together, in the healing power of music, and in the knowledge that even the deepest wounds could become well springs of hope for others. That Christmas night, as snow fell on Denver, the lights of 30 music centers glowed across the city. Inside each one, photographs showed smiling children at their pianos, their voices found, their hearts healing. And in the main hall, a family once broken by ambition stood united by love, their story a testament to the true meaning of success, the ability to transform pain into purpose, silence into song, and loss into a legacy of hope. The foundation's story caught the attention of the White House. In spring, they received an invitation to perform at a special event celebrating organizations that had transformed American communities. Noah and Michael would represent the thousands of students whose lives had been changed through music. The performance in Washington, D.C. marked a milestone. As the brothers played for dignitaries and lawmakers, their music spoke of transformation and hope. Bill, now fully recovered, watched from the audience with Sarah, David, and Jennifer, all of them remembering the long journey that had brought them here. The president's words resonated through the East Room. The Harrison Foundation reminds us that the American dream isn't just about individual success. It's about lifting others as we rise. Following the White House performance, support poured in from across the nation. Major corporations pledged funding for new centers. Universities partnered with the foundation to develop music therapy programs. The model that began in Denver was becoming a national movement. Noah's story inspired a documentary series about music healing trauma. Film crews followed students at various centers, capturing their journeys from silence to expression. The series, titled Finding Your Voice, became a catalyst for national conversations about emotional healing through arts education. Bill took on a new role, traveling to business schools to share his story of transformation. "Success without purpose is empty," he would tell students. "True wealth lies in what you give, not what you take." Michael developed a special program for children of divorce, drawing from his own experience of finding connection through music. The program helped thousands of children process their emotions through musical expression. Sarah and David celebrated their anniversary by opening the foundation's 50th center. The ceremony included a surprise performance. All the teachers from across the country played together via video link, creating a symphony of gratitude for the couple who had started it all. Jennifer's redemption story became integral to the foundation's message. She spoke at conferences about transformation and second chances, her experience demonstrating that it's never too late to change course and make amends. The foundation established a scholarship program named after Noah and Michael, supporting students who showed promise in music therapy. The first class of scholars included children from all walks of life, each with their own story of healing through music. As the foundation approached its 10th anniversary, they organized a national concert series. In each city, local students performed alongside Noah and Michael, showcasing the power of music to bridge divides and heal hearts. The event culminated in a return to Carnegie Hall, but this time the stage held not just the Harrison brothers, but 100 students from across the country. They performed an original piece composed by Noah and Michael, titled Every Voice Matters. The foundation's impact extended beyond music therapy. Their success inspired other organizations to focus on healing through arts. Dance programs, art therapy centers, and creative writing workshops all followed the Harrison model of transformation through creative expression. Bill's health continued to improve, allowing him to take a more active role in the foundation's growth. Working alongside his sons, he found the fulfillment that had eluded him in his pursuit of wealth. The man who once abandoned his family for ambition now dedicated himself to helping others find their path. Sarah's leadership earned her recognition as one of Time magazine's People of the Year. The article highlighted not just the foundation's success, but the personal journey that had inspired it all. From a single mother with nothing but hope and determination to a national leader in arts education, her story embodied the true American dream. As another year drew to a close, the Harrison family gathered for their traditional Christmas concert. But this time, they were joined by thousands of students and families across the country, connected through live streams in every center. Noah and Michael, now renowned musicians and teachers, played the piece that had started it all, Silent Night. But as the familiar melody filled the air, it carried with it the sound of thousands of voices and pianos joining in from coast to coast. The foundation had become more than a music therapy program. It had grown into a movement of healing, hope, and transformation. The family that had been shattered by one Christmas Eve betrayal had rebuilt itself into something far greater than any individual success. In the end, their story proved that the greatest achievements come not from what we gain, but from what we give. Through music, they had found not just their own healing, but had created a legacy that would continue to change lives for generations to come. The true measure of their success wasn't in the number of centers, the awards, or the recognition. It was in every child who found their voice, every family that healed, and every heart that opened to the transformative power of music and love. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done in Sarah's position? Has music ever helped you heal? Subscribe to our channel for more touching stories that remind us of life's most precious gifts, faith, family, and the power of forgiveness. Remember, sometimes the darkest chapters of our lives can lead to the most beautiful symphonies.